It's rainy and cold here in the Pacific Northwest today, but we can still get started on our gardens by beginning some seeds. So come on in the greenhouse. Hello, I'm Tori Hebert and welcome to the greenhouse today. We're going to start at the very beginning for every gardener, which is seeds. So I brought today my seed catalogs. I don't know about you guys, but I've been receiving these for several weeks. This is kind of like the fun of late winter, is getting seed catalogs so that you can start to plan your garden. We certainly are planning and have actually already started sowing seeds here. So we're going to share with you today how to get started sowing your own seeds so that you have an early jump start on the gardening year. An heirloom is typically a variety that's been around for 60 years or more, and it hasn't been heavily breeded in a modern fashion. So they're typically ones that you could count on planting in your garden, getting that old-fashioned flavor, and also being able to save your seed for next year and having it stay true to type. Then we also have open pollinated, usually is abbreviated by OP on the package. And a lot of times heirloom and open pollinated is kind of the same. But basically open pollinated also means that you could plant that variety and another variety in your garden. They may cross, but you're still going to get something that's true to type. And they're a nice one for seed saving as well. And then the last variety are the hybrids, which are a lot of our really favorite ones, especially when I think of tomatoes that we all love, like Better Boy, some of the ones that grow really early, like Early Girl and stuff like that. A lot of people think that hybrid and GMO means the same thing. That is not true. Hybrid just means that it has two parent plants and they've been crossed, and that plant is the first or second generation of that crossing. You can plant that seed, but you may not save that seed and get that exact tomato again. So a hybrid is something that you grow just for that season, and then you're done with that one. So you've got your seed packages. I have several ones that we have here. You can see they come in different sizes. So just a couple of things that are important for you to pay attention to are, number one, how much seed you're getting. So typically this is listed by grams or milligrams. And so it can be deceiving, and it's important that I always kind of feel the package, but think about the price that you're paying for the number of seeds that you're getting. A lot of times growers will say how many seeds per gram, which is really nice as well. And then second of all, on the back, again, the companies are, they're pros at this, and they're listing all the information that you need on here. Days to emerge is really important. A lot of times when you sow a flat, if 14 days pass and you haven't seen anything in the flat show up and your seed was supposed to sprout in 5, then you know that maybe something went wrong and you should re-sow it. When to start it inside, this is another really important thing. Some things grow really quickly when you start them, and so you don't want to start them too early and they're not ready to go outside. The weather hasn't warmed up yet. So it'll say on here 4 to 6 weeks before average frost. So what we do when we're planning our garden here at Fort is we look at the days. So this one will be ready in 50 days. And so we count backwards from the date that we start it until we actually want to harvest that from the garden. So that's what you'll do as well when you're starting seeds. So let's talk about some equipment and materials that you'll need to get started with seed starting. So one of the things to think about when you're sowing seeds is that seeds are basically this great little package of life, and inside of them contains everything that that plant needs to grow for the first days, maybe weeks of its life. It's really simple just to get lots of different seed starting systems out there. We just use plug trays here. The reason why I like plug trays is because the seedlings, as they grow, they're developing a root system, and so it's really nice for that root system to be separate and to be able to grow all on its own without crowding of other seedlings next to it. There's also larger plug trays that you could leave the plant in longer. And then there's also an open flat. An open flat is good for something that you're sowing a lot of and that you are going to set out into the garden. And so you would fill this all with soil and then distribute the seed through there. But again, like I said, we use this here because this way, once the seedling has grown to its full proportion, we can pull it out, and it's a single plant all into itself. It's easy to deal with. So the next thing that you'll need to think about is after you've sown your seeds, keeping them moist at all times until germination happens. A lot of times some bottom heat can really help. We have germination mats that keep the soil warm at a certain temperature, and that's very helpful. And most seeds don't need light to germinate other than just ambient light that's in the room. I've invited an advanced horticulture student here today so that he could demonstrate for us seed sowing. They've gotten lots of practice in the last couple of weeks as we're getting ready for the plant sale. So this is Morgan Riley. He's a senior at Fort Vancouver High School, and he's here to demonstrate for you.
All right, so the seeds that I chose were a paste tomato. These particular seeds have a planting depth of 1/4 of an inch, and the days till germination are 7 to 14 days. So that is the amount of time that you can expect to see the first starts of growth. There are multiple ways that you can kind of get the seeds out of the package and put them into the flat. I choose by hand. Some people go straight out of the pack. It's really up to you. You can get a tag or any kind of stiff material to mark your different depths of 1 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, whatever you need. And then you can just kind of put it into the soil. Grab one of your seeds and plop it right in like that and cover it back up. And we can do a couple more. Get in there. And just like that, you can plant as many seeds as you want. And any that you don't use can go right back into the original container package.
So Morgan, show me how you like to make a tag. It's always important that we tag our plants so that we know the day that we planted it, so that we can check for germination. So how do you like to do that?
The way that I do it is right after you're done seeding, or sometimes even before seeding or transplanting, you can just take the tag and just write down the name. In this case, Gilbert E. Paste Tomato. And then I like to do on one side have the variety, and then on the other, the type of plant. And the date, which is 2/9/17. Some people like to put their names on the tag as well. In this case, it's not that necessary.
What you're looking for is true leaves. So when seedlings first emerge, they have either 1 or 2 cotyledons, which are basically food storage for the seed as they get their roots down growing. And then once that true leaf comes up, then they actually start photosynthesizing, and they need the nutrients, the light, and all the things that the rest of plants do. So this is the important time as soon as you see those true leaves emerge. And the true leaves, the reason why they're called true leaves is because they actually look like the plant. So like right now, you would never know from looking at this that this is a turnip. But the next set of leaves that emerge from the middle there, the true leaves, actually look like turnip leaves. So they help you to identify the plant. So what we do is we actually use just a simple kitchen knife for this process. And basically you just put your knife into the plug and lift gently this out. Obviously you can imagine that the roots of the seedling are very delicate at this point, so you want to be really careful and keep that all intact. Sometimes at this point you might need to separate out. If you have more than one seedling in a plug, you want to basically get yourself down to one seedling. So I'm just going to pinch these other 2 out. Seems kind of cruel, but it's necessary. And then you'll have another pot ready or out into your garden. So we just, again, kind of use our knife to make a hole, gently put the seedling in there and pack it down real gently so that it can grow and now it has all of this room and nutrients that it needs in the soil to start really growing and to hopefully eventually provide you with some wonderful food. Did you know horticulture classes are offered at several Vancouver public schools? River, Hudson's Bay, Fort Vancouver, and Flex Academies all have horticulture programs. They can not only be a great place for students to learn about plants in our environment, but also a helpful resource for home gardeners. Several times a year, we hold plant sales where you can get high-quality starters for your garden, grown by our students. The money raised helps buy supplies and support the program, so it's a real win-win. Contact the high school closest to you to see if they have a program and when the next sale will be. That's about it for us. Thanks for joining us to learn more about starting seeds. Morgan, I just have a question for you before we go. Thanks for being with us today. Can you share something about what you like about the horticulture program?
Sure. What I really enjoy about the horticulture program here at Fort and just being a part of it is it gives you a chance to come outside or be in the greenhouse and work with your hands. Do something that you can say, I did this, like even if it's just putting a little plant in a small little pot.
Thank you, Morgan. I'm Tori Hebert. Thanks for joining us in the greenhouse.